Hello, everybody. It is Mike Young, a digitalnomad.net. Also, the founder of Tesla High Mileage Club at teslahighmileageclub.com. Please join us over there. Join the conversation. Free to join. We welcome everybody. Thank you for watching this video. I know it's going to be a long video, so I apologize in advance, but I will also say that it's a complete video and it's got all of what you ever wanted to know about Tesla supercharging. And of course, it's important to know this nowadays in 2024, I'm sorry, 2024. um, Even if you're not a Tesla driver, because of what happened last year, you may know that almost all the automotive manufacturers kind of switched over from the North American charging standard to, um, uh, sorry, from CSS to the North American charging standard, which is what Tesla uses to describe theirs, because it was never adopted as the industry standard. The CSS was. But anyway, all vehicles will probably use this Tesla standard now. It's so easy, it's so reliable. You're going to find out more here in this video. Also, please give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Please share it with somebody who can benefit from what we're talking about here. And we got the super thanks thing over here in the corner. You can tip me commensurate with the amount of value you're receiving from this video. So I really appreciate that. So let's get in. First, let's talk about the history of the Tesla superchargers. I did mention 2014 earlier in this video, and that's because that's when the supercharging network started, was September of 2014. The first couple of superchargers opened, I think it was in California. I'm sorry, 2012. Oh my gosh. You're like, who is this guy? September 2012 is when they started. 2014 was approximately the time when they were almost drivable anywhere in the United States. So it started 2012, September, took about 2 years. Let me know in the comments if you have any additional information about that. But that's the way I understand it anyway. I wasn't really focused on it then. I didn't own a Tesla then. So 2014 was about the time when you could rely on it. Now I roll into the picture and you're wondering, like, who is this guy? How do you know all this stuff to make a video this long about Tesla supercharging? Well, I ordered my Tesla in December of 2016. At the time, all Tesla cars to that point in time were given free supercharging. Let me get to that in a minute. But I ordered mine because that was coming to an end. They were phasing that out, the SCO1. And what happened was I ordered it. You could still take advantage. My car was not built until February of 2017 and delivered to me in March of 2017. Ever since I've been driving my car exclusively, still on the road, 280,000 miles, original battery pack, original motor. I used the PlugShare app, and you can see right here, how many supercharging sessions do you have in your car? 3,213. That's a lot. Okay, I have a lot of experience here with Tesla supercharging in the network, and yes, it's incredibly reliable. I can verify that. I can absolutely confirm that it's a good thing that all cars are going to this. It's so simple, so easy to use. You're going to find out why. But it's fairly complex because there's all kinds of different versions: V1, V2, V3, V4, and so on and so on. But before we get into the versions of the superchargers and the different types, let's talk about the free supercharging. That ended and was phased out at the end of 2016. I got it because I ordered before then, and it's SCO1, so it actually goes with the car. So if I sell the car to somebody else, they get the benefit as long as the car doesn't pass through Tesla's hands, because they will remove it. They have no incentive to keep it there, and you wouldn't even know it was gone. You'll just know that when you buy the car, it's not there. So you might say, Mike, how can I buy? I bought a 2013 Model S. It didn't have it. You liar. Well, I'm not lying. What happened with that car almost certainly was it went back to Tesla, because only Tesla can remove these things. It's through the proprietary software, and they did remove it. So, but you can get tremendous value here because some of these cars are still under warranty. These older cars, they had an 8-year unlimited mileage battery warranty. That was the OG warranty on the Model S and X. And at the time when they offered SCO1, which went with the car, they only had Model S and X. So my car's still under warranty with the battery until March of next year, 2025. Then it's 8 years. But I've got 280,000 miles. I got over 3,200 plug-in superchargers. I travel a lot. My wife and I, Denise, we travel a lot. So we have a lot of experience with this. So I will tell you that. The other thing is, after SCO1, sorry about that, SCO2 was the next one. And that kind of is a demand lever that Elon Musk has that he would kind of implement from time to time as they had slight demand drops for their vehicles to kind of boost sales. So like I think most of the original Model 3 performances, believe it or not, came with SCO2, and then there were some of the S's and X's that came with SCO2, depending upon if they were, kind of had an inventory buildup, which in the past they never had any inventory. And I also do believe that Model Y has never come with any form of free supercharging, and almost no Model 3s. Like I said, it's only OG Model 3 performances, I believe, that had the unlimited supercharging, and that's only for the original owner. Even if you change the title of the car, you might lose that free supercharging under SCO2. So check that out. Comment below if you know some more, or join Tesla High Mileage Club at teslahighmileageclub.com. All right, now let's get into the full history so you can fully understand. Like I said, this is relevant for you if you're a Tesla driver, or you're a wannabe Tesla driver, or if you are somebody that is driving another EV or any car, because they're all switching over to EV. I think we know that. I know there are some holdups like Toyota and hydrogen powered and all this stuff, but I don't think that's going to come to fruition. I think that this supercharger network is this video. This will be like the OG video one day. Okay. You'll be like, this guy, he had 3,200 superchargers. Oh, and guess what? This guy has been driving around, Mike, since March of 2017, and he doesn't even have a home charger. And I didn't. Actually, I have always relied fully on the supercharger network of Tesla, because I don't have my own charger at home. I can't even plug in the 110. I'm in my studio in a condo right now, all right? And I don't have any ability to even plug into the stuff here for various reasons that I'm not getting into this video, okay? But I didn't have it in the past either. They didn't even have a charger until recently, the one I'm not allowed to use for various reasons. But anyway, let's get to the chargers. You'll see there are 5 pictures. Version 1, version 2, urban, version 3, right there, and version 4, the latest version. They've all got their little quirks. These are being phased out, 1 and 2. So you'll see more of here, and here going forward, as a Tesla driver, and also as just a non-EV, or just somebody who's watching what's going on from the sidelines, even if you drive an ICE. Internal combustion engine is what ICE stands for, in case you don't know that. I'm trying to make this video for all levels. If there's something I missed too, drop it down in the comments, or just join us, like I said, at teslahighmileageclub.com. It's a group on Facebook. We've got over 30,000 members at the recording of this video. So please just, it's there as a resource for you. And so is the comment section below, because I know there's all kinds of stuff, and I know there's varying degrees of knowledge of people out there. So again, I'm making this for everybody. Okay, version 1. 2012 is when they launched it. 2014 is when they had most all places in the US could reach a supercharger. So it was functional. It was a functional long distance network in 2014. And I do lots of you might be thinking, well, Mike, okay, you only ever supercharged your car over 3,200 times. You must be doing local driving, right? No, I do so much long distance driving, so much. Like, oh yeah, you're an Uber driver or something. No, I'm not. It's this travel that we're doing through our nonprofit organization and other things. And it's great. I'm telling you, it's a great, great system. I put a lot of faith into Tesla and Elon Musk doing what I did, spending $107,000, if you can believe that, on my Model X, okay? But if you do the math, I think I've almost made all that back in free electricity during the time I've owned the car already. So it's actually been one of the least expensive cars I've ever owned. All right, version 1, V1, all metal cabinet, all white, metal, no red in the middle. It's kind of black, gray, white, and it had this Tesla logo. You can't see it, but it's up top. Tesla logo was just printed on red. That's the only red thing on it. And like I said, you can knock on it. That's wood, but it was metal. These guys are plastic. Everything else is plastic going forward on the outside. Here's metal. Charge rate. Maximum charge rate on these is 100 kilowatts. Maximum on version 1. Now, I don't know when they started doing version 2, but it is not current anymore. But when they did version 2, they did a couple upgrades. I'm going to go through what the differences are between here, and also how it affects my OG Model X and other vehicles in terms of charge speed. You got 100 kilowatts on the version 1. This one adds a lighted Tesla logo. It looks the same as this one. You can't see it, but it's there. But it's light. It's backlit. This means that during the day it's harder to see, but at night you can easily see if it's lit up. Tesla, it's on and functional. If it is not lit up, don't bother going there because it's not working. It tells you, it gives you a visual. That hardly ever happens, by the way. Almost fully reliable, almost 100% of the time. Sometimes if it's not working, not only will this thing not be there, or if it's version 1 that doesn't light up at all, they'll wrap the cord around the top. You're like, why is the cord wrapped? Because it's not working. Where there's a cone or pylon over there. Let me get you some water. I need some water. Woo. Okay, other thing about version 2. Wow, that feels better. Increased charge speeds, 125 kilowatts max when they first came out, and they eventually did some software updates on these suckers, and they now are almost all now at 150 kilowatts max. Something else you want to know is, especially if you have an older Tesla, and oh, by the way, these are North American charging standard cables that will probably never be functional with anything but a Tesla. I'm not 100% sure on that, but let me know in the comments or discuss at teslahighmilegeclub.com, please, because I'd like to gain some insight. But I'm pretty sure that nobody else but Teslas would ever be able to plug into a version 1 or version 2 because there's only that NACS thing. And I don't think there's any other functionality built into the computers of these other EVs that would allow them to even operate. Because the way these operate, if you're not familiar, is you just take the cable off and you plug it in. On a Tesla, they're always on the driver's side back, always in the exact same spot, every single Tesla model. And yes, there are multiple models, even though they all look the same except for Cybertruck. There are 4 models of car or slash SUV. There is S, X, 3, and Y, and Cybertruck, and they all have the same exact location. So you just plug in. The cables are short and they barely reach, but they work. The other thing is, if you supercharge a lot, back in the day, they said if you supercharge to a certain amount, they wouldn't tell me how many sessions at a stall, these are stalls, they would limit your pack to 90 kilowatts for the remainder of the pack. So mine eventually dropped from 100 kilowatts max, and that's a max rate. Okay, it's a curve, it's like a bell curve. When you start off in the very, if you say you discharge all the way to 0, it'll have a hard time starting up, and then when it finally does, it may be 5% battery, it'll ramp up to almost the max quickly, and then slowly over time it'll drop down. By the time you get to 80%, you may only be pulling at 80%, I don't even know, 30 kilowatts. Okay, it drops significantly. That last 20% takes forever to charge, especially if you have an older pack like mine. As the packs age, they take even longer. Okay, it may seem like, oh, Mike, my pack shut off after 60 minutes. Well, mine won't shut off for probably 3 hours at this point in time. It didn't used to be like that. But okay, so short cords only for Teslas, 100 kilowatts max. Although Tesla limited mine, it was limited to 90 kilowatts. But then a couple of years after I got limited to 90 kilowatts, they mysteriously, without announcement, lifted it. I guess they recognized that it wasn't really causing any kind of problems with the pack long term. And that is, I'd say, almost an old wives' tale at this point, that supercharging destroys your battery. Because when I bought my car, they were telling people that. They're like, oh, with only supercharge when you have to, because you're going to destroy the battery pack. And I'm like, all I'm ever going to do is supercharge, but okay. And that's kind of how I bought my $107,000 car. It's what it cost me at the time, $107,000. But I did get all the full self-driving options and all that too. I got the upgrade for free with the computers and the sensors, the cameras. All those are free upgrades, which is cool. But I had to spend all that money. But it's paid off now, and like I said, I've supercharged so many times. Wow, it's amazing. You got to have money, but if you have enough money to get into it, there wasn't. Like I said, I think this is the cheapest car I've ever owned. All right, so version 1, all metal cabinets. They phased them out for version 2. You could see that it was working based on the backlit Tesla logo. The cords were identical as far as I know. Nothing changes with the cords. It's just a cabinet. It went from metal and just gray and white to plastic and red and white. All right, you see that difference? And of course, 125, later upgraded to 150. And mine still gets 150. Mine still pulls. I know some of the early Model S's, they don't pull as much because they had different battery technology, the original packs in the first couple of years, like 2012, 13, and 14, I think. I'm not familiar with them. If you are familiar, comment below and enlighten folks here in this video, or go to teslahighmilegeclub.com and join us there. That would be awesome. So you get all this 1 and 2. This is historical. This is like for your historical reference because they're still there, but they're probably only going to be used by Teslas going forward and aren't relevant to everybody else. In the meantime, at one point during the same time, they introduced this, which is the urban charger. Before I talk about the urban charger, let me tell you that each of these stalls was given a number and a letter, and it's down here, like below this little curved part. On the side of the cabinet was like a 1A, 1B, or a 2A, 2B, or a 3A, 3B. Same with this down, or down here it could be a 4A, 4B. But let's just show this one because remember the S's is where there'll be a circle, and let's say 3A, 3B. The way this works is they're shared. Each number shares a dual output. So if, let's say this one is capable, version 1, it's the same way with version 2. Let's say you had somebody at the maximum on a version 1, which is 100 kilowatts. And let's say they were at 3A, charging at 100 kilowatts. Well, if somebody pulled into 3B, wherever that could be, usually it's right next to it, but it could be somewhere else. You got to look at the number and the letter. If it's 3B, it's sharing output. So if someone was plugged in at 100 kilowatts on 3A and suddenly someone pulled in and their battery, depending on state of charge, demanded another 100 kilowatts out of 3B, that means 3A would drop to 50 kilowatts and they would share that 100 kilowatts. That's the way this worked, okay? I guess it was a cost savings. Same thing on version 2, shared. So if somebody pulls in on 3A and is asking for, in this case, let's say it's 150 kilowatts maximum because they software upgraded, which all of them are. Let's say someone's pulling 150 kilowatts like me, I could do that. I've actually seen it go up to like 160. I don't know why, but I guess it fluctuates. But let's say I'm pulling 150 on 3A, or let's say I'm on 4A over here. I don't, on a version 2 supercharger, I'm pulling 160 kilowatts. Somebody pulls in, plugs in at 4B and calls for another 150 kilowatts in their car. That means I drop to 75 and they're charging at 75 too. It's split. Urban. When Urban came out, we found out that, yeah, they're in parking garages. I mean, they already could put these almost anywhere because there's no smell, there's no spilling of gasoline. You know, nobody could squirt their gas nozzle and light a match and have a flamethrower. Nobody could do that like you can at a gas station. By the way, don't do that. Okay, I just watched too many movies where I've seen that. I think it was Point Break. If you guys have seen that one, where the ex-presidents, I don't know. Anyway, comment below if you remember that movie. Urban superchargers, they fit anywhere. It's super tight spaces like parking garages. This one is in a parking garage. This one is not the scale. They're actually even smaller than this. I wanted to blow it up so you could see, but they're much smaller. They don't have any lighted Tesla logo. They don't have a printed Tesla name. They just have the Tesla logo. Okay. This is a printed Tesla name, just not backlit. This is a printed Tesla name, backlit. This is a Tesla logo, not backlit. But usually they're indoors, almost always, or an indoor environment that's already lit around it, if that makes sense. So you don't need to worry about that. Two changes that happen with these are, and they're still in production because they're in super tight spaces. Max charge rate is 72 kilowatts. 72 is the max, regardless of your Tesla. Okay, that's the max you can ever pull on these things. I'm guessing it will be the same for non-Teslas, although I don't know if non-Teslas will be able to use these. They may not be able to use them. Just keep this in mind. Again, there's a lot of things that are unknown right now, especially since Tesla fired the entire supercharging team last month. Wow, now I know how college professors feel. Okay. The other thing on these, which was new at the time and groundbreaking, was that they don't share circuits. So even you wouldn't see a 3A, 3B or a 1A, 1B on here because it doesn't exist. You're never sharing anything with anybody. If you're pulling 72 kilowatts, somebody comes and plugs in next to you, it's not sharing, and you will not drop and they will not be underperforming what they think they're going to do. Everybody's always going to get 72 kilowatts when you're at state of charge that will allow for a 72 kilowatt or greater input into your battery pack. Does that make sense? So I think we're done. We are done with the history of Tesla here. Like I said, I think we will see these urbans continue to be like a thing going forward, but version 1, metal cabinet, non-red, non-backlit, and version 2, well, it looks like, this looks like version 3, you'll see in a second, but version 2, these are a thing of the past. This is current. This is more current and super current. Okay. All right. let's get into what this is. This is version 3. Woohoo! All right. Now, before we get into what this arrow is for, because this is important, I want to stay on task and I want to describe the differences between version 3 and 2 because aside from this arrow, these look almost identical, and they are. This has a Tesla word printed logo, I guess, whatever. That's backlit. Backlit is the important thing. You can tell if it's working or not. If it's super bright sun, you may not be able to see it, but it's either on and working, which is it is 99% of the time, or it is not backlit. Don't bother trying. And maybe somebody will wrap the cord around the top or put a cone in front of that space for you to tell you, so you don't have to waste your time. Almost never happens with Tesla though. Super reliable network. I will say this is my testimony. Okay. All right. The other thing that was new with this is this cord. I don't know if you can tell the gauge of the cord. This cord is thick. It's the same gauge as 1. 1 and 2 kind of share the same cord, I believe. If I'm wrong, please correct me below in the comments. But version 3 changed the cord. It got thinner, which is weird. Yet they went up to maximum of 250 kilowatt charge rate. And the reason why they could go up to 250 kilowatt charge rate is because this cord, even though it's thinner, carries coolant through it up to the handle. It just kind of makes a loop. It's got a, inside of here has a pump. Inside of this stall, it has a pump. You'll hear it. You'll hear the pump kick on when you plug into your car. Whereas in version 1 and 2, you don't hear anything because there's no pump. What happens is with version 1 and 2, they realized that the handle where it actually plugs into your car, like right here, was getting too hot. And when it would get too hot, it would reduce the charge rate prematurely. So they fixed that here in version 3 by adding this coolant pump. And again, I don't know how, thinner cable, but they pump coolant through it. It cools this handle down. So instead of trying to do your little trick of a wet rag or an ice cube on the actual handle part, that actually is the part that's hard plastic that connects to your car and the charge port, it was doing it internally automatically here. I'm not giving Tesla the finger. And you'll hear the pump, like I said. But the benefit to you is you get 250 kilowatts max charge rate instead of 150 kilowatts on version 2. Higher. Unfortunately, older OG Teslas like mine can't benefit from 250 because our cars are limited to, I think, technically 150, although I have seen up to 165, but I think that's just like a fluke or something like that. And, but there is still a benefit because since you got a cooled handle, actively cooled handle, constantly pumping coolant in there, you will never drop down below the charge rate that's maximum for your battery pack. You will always maintain that highest possible charge rate. It will never be kicked down because the handle overheats unless your pump is broken. I've never seen a pump that's broken though. These are things that are very reliable. Occasionally I will see you plug in and you find it just doesn't start charging and then I move to another stall and then it works. But that is so rare. Even that is rare. All right, now what is this other arrow? This is the other potential feature of your version 3 only. 1 and 2 don't have this extra feature. See how wide this is compared to this? Skinny. The skinny narrow because this only has to be the little hole that the Tesla charger plugs in. If you've ever seen that charging cables for CSS are like 3 times the thickness. There's like 3 circular things that you're plugging into your car. It's this bulky, unwieldy, super thick cable and everything. I've used Electrify America chargers and I made videos on that, and the experience is just bad. Okay, I mean, I would never wish it on anyone. I'm so sorry for your Porsche drivers that have had to, until recently, only use those things. I know they say, hey, well, you do 350 kilowatts, but the experience is so bad. They're so unreliable. They're so, you have to wait for these things. I never have to wait too, either. Almost never. It's so rare that I've ever had to wait for a Tesla supercharger. They keep building more and more and more. Okay, which is great. This is what they call Magic Dock. Inside of it, it's thicker because they have that CSS adapter built in. And if you make your appointment somehow, however you do it with your non-Tesla cars, so that the Tesla supercharger knows you're coming by, when you arrive and unplug, it will release with it not just that thin cable, because it's real thin, so easy, but it'll release a thicker, the three, whatever, I don't know what the technical term is. Let me know in the comments. For the CSS. It'll pull right out. So Magic Dock can do any car basically that's CSS compatible. And CSS is being phased out if you guys don't know this, because as of 2023, almost every vehicle manufacturer suddenly went over to the North American Charging Standard (NACS) that Tesla developed, which is so easy. It's so thin. Look how small this little thing is right here. See how small that is? It's so easy. Even like a little kid could pick this cable up. And then you come over here and you get this giant thing. Not because the cable's any thicker, although it is on the CSS only non-Tesla chargers, but this adapter is so bulky and unwieldy and heavy. Okay, that's why everybody switched over, and those other chargers were not reliable. There's so many things that were wrong with CSS. I am so glad to see that, and I never would have thought as a Tesla owner that everyone would switch over. I just knew that the Tesla charging experience was phenomenal. It was way better than I thought it would be, and it continues to this day. And like I said, this is somebody providing testimony that has over 3,200 charging sessions myself on one single, the same car that I've driven over 280,000 miles. And by the way, I've towed, and we do tons of car camping at night, running the HVAC continually, and during the day too, working out of the car. So we have way more wear on it than you think at 280,000 miles, way more. And my towing is a double axle enclosed box trailer, 5,000 pounds, and we have done much for a couple of years. We did a lot of long distance towing with that on the interstates. So yeah, a lot of wear. All right, does that make sense? One, two. We're skipping over the urban because they're still in shopping malls, parking garages. And three. So these right here, they don't necessarily have this magic dock. They may have the fin right here. If you're using magic dock because you got CSS, you can comment down below on how that works in your car, because I don't know. All right, I don't want to know. I like Tesla. I'll probably be sticking with Tesla. I'd be surprised if I change my mind. What I want to get into in this video too is the experience that I've had at the superchargers and how that's changed since version 3 and Magic Dock and version 4 have come out. Because let me tell you, as I mentioned earlier in this video, all Tesla cars have the charge connector on the driver's side back, right over here where I'm pointing. So basically up until through version 1 and 2, it was incredibly consistent. They were always lined up right. The chargers were always in the right spot. Whenever me or any other Tesla pulled in, you didn't have to do any finagling in your marked out parking area. Anywhere you parked in that area that was lines on both sides, you would easily reach the cable to your car, and the cable would reach. And even though it was a short cable, the only caveat to that was if you're towing or if you had some big rack sticking off the back of your car. And yeah, in those cases, you really wished, you were like, please make a longer cable. But I'm not talking about that. Any regular car that didn't have those extenuating circumstances, you had no problems. I never had any problems with the experience until version 3 and version 4. I'm going to get to that in a second. Actually, specifically version 3. Version 3 is the issue because not all of them have magic docks. But what I'm seeing is that over the last year, since version 3 has been out and been producing in numbers, and only a few version 2s I've seen only very recently here in 2024. Well, version 3 was being installed actively and was already under permits to have installations in 2023 during the time that all of the auto manufacturers started switching over. And because they were switching over, I think it was presenting some challenges to Tesla about how they were going to implement how this went. Because as you can see from this picture, this VW does not have a charge port on the driver's side back. This is on the passenger side back. So these have short cables. We already know they're only going to fit Tesla, most likely. But even with this, same. It still has a short cable. Yes, it was thinner. Like I said, it was thinner cable, and it's cooled, so it has a higher potential maximum charge rate of 250 kilowatts. But the length of the cable was no longer than version 2 or version 1. So what we've been finding is they are not installing these version 3s consistently anymore. It was always a good consistency here with version 1 and version 2. In terms of exactly how the stall was oriented within the parking space, because you're only dealing with Teslas. Now in here, they realize, oh my gosh, other people are coming our way now. So instead of kind of I don't know, doing what we used to do, we're going to have to orient these in a way that will allow the potential for vehicles other than Teslas to use them. And I get that. It makes sense to me, right? Because that's the way the industry is going. All of the auto manufacturers have changed over now to NACS, North American Charging Standard, which is the Tesla standard, which is the fun and easy standard. But the problem is the cable's not long enough on version 3, and not everybody has cables in the same spot. I've seen some people that have cables in the front on their grills, and they're all. I've seen cables between the front wheel and the front passenger door, front wheel and the front driver door. They're like all over. Let me know down below all the different areas that you've seen ports. They're the ports on the vehicles, and these cables have to reach that. These version 3s are going to have massive problems with these short Tesla cables. That's the one thing that, and yes, there have been, I've seen cable extenders available from certain suppliers that tend to go out of stock of them all the time. I don't even know if it's legal. They may have been sued by Tesla for all I know. Let me know in the comments if you know more about that, or join us at TeslaHighMileageClub.com, please. Wow. Okay. I know this video is long, but we're going to do a complete video. I'm talking about the experience. This is really what I wanted to get into, is the experience from an OG Tesla supercharger like myself, how that's changed here in 2024, because it really started late last year, mid to late last year, as the industry was suddenly changing in a direction that even the industry would not have predicted it would be going in. And you're stuck with these version 3s, which were really, I think, only designed for Tesla. And then they just threw this magic dock in as a band-aid. I don't like to use name brands, a bandage, whatever, to address the issue, because there's almost no version 4 installs, even at this point in time of recording this video. And there's also some different features on different specific installations of V4 superchargers, which I'm going to get into here in a minute. So what I'm seeing, okay, you're like, Mike, okay, you're saying that version 3 is not consistently in this lined up for Tesla only. What does that mean to me? Okay, well, here's what it means. From somebody that I used to always come to version 1 and 2, I back in, or however it is, and I always plug in, no problem. Like I said, unless I'm towing or have some big bike on a rack off the back, well, we're not talking about those. Those are outlier situations. Okay, yeah, I wish all chargers were pull through like gas stations for EVs for charging with towing, but they're not. But what this allows is installations in so many other areas that you can't have a gas station. Okay, there's flexibility there, but yeah, we still want pull throughs for towing. I know I'm getting off topic. Okay, well, what I'm seeing here is, originally I thought I noticed in the last few months 2 different times, and I made some short videos about these, and I got a lot of hate. Okay, they're like, Mike, I don't mean to say anything bad here, but your video is completely off base. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, you just have to move your car a little bit to connect. And I'm like, wait a minute, I need to make a long video about this, because this requires some explanation. Yes, I do need to move my car to connect, because I made some videos saying like, look, I just pulled it in my spot. It's a regular Tesla driver with over 3,000 supercharging sessions. And I pull into my spot within the lines, and guess what? The cord doesn't reach. I can't force it even into my charge port. It's like bent and everything. And even if I was able to force it, it would be so much strain on the cord, it would probably break the charge port. I have never experienced that in all of my years of Tesla supercharging, all the 3,000 plus times until the last month or so. And what I'm seeing is it's on these version 3s, probably with the magic docks. And what they're doing is they're orienting the installations of these stalls in a way that will allow for multiple plug-in arrangements from non-Tesla cars. And what that's creating is a situation where you as a Tesla driver have a changed experience. And the changed experience is that instead of being able to just kind of, chill. I know a lot of times people say I'm not laid back, but hey, I'm laid back with I have been laid back with my pulling into my spot. I don't have to be exact. Come on, just pull in. I'm within the lines. It works. No problem. Never a problem. Now it's a problem. It's a potential problem on a version 3 like this, especially with the Magic Dock, because they've lined them up in such a way that it's not possible for you to plug in unless you are either in a certain area between the lines, like you shift it over to one side, one or the other, all right? Or sometimes the lines are so off, it won't even. I've encountered one of them. I made a video about this. It's on Tesla High Mileage Club YouTube channel or a plant-based diet. Or sorry, that's the other. That's the nonprofit that we run. A digitalnomad.net YouTube channel. Either one, you'll see it. I couldn't plug in. I was within the lines. No matter what I did, staying within the lines, I could not get that cable, this version 3 cable, to reach my car. All right. So yeah, it was only one stall at an installation that was like that, but I have never seen that with Tesla. Okay. Maybe this is why Elon fired the supercharging team. I don't know. I don't know. But there's been some mistakes in planning in these supercharging installations. I want to be clear. All right. People might say, oh, you're a fanboy or you're a Tesla hater. No, I'm both. Okay. It depends on the situation. It depends what's going on. And in this situation, there has been a change. So the experience of me as a supercharger Tesla person is gone down. Okay. And like I said, I've encountered one where I had to move to a different area, either one side or the other in my space to connect. And it wasn't that they just painted the lines wrong. It's because of how they installed these stalls. And they're doing it, it looks apparent to me, to appease non-Tesla drivers. And like I said, there was even one where I pulled in at one stall, at one newer installation of a version 3 like this, where I could not connect no matter what. And I thought, oh, it's a botched installation. That's the title of the video, botched. Look that up on my channel. But now the more I think about it, I'm like, no, I don't think it was a botched installation. I think that they realized what was going on, that all of a sudden, all other drivers that are non-Tesla are going to be using this. And this should have probably had a version 4, which we're going to get to in a minute, which would have solved a lot of these problems because the cable is a lot longer. Look how long that cable is. But we don't. So we're going to take a couple stalls. It's kind of like they take, sometimes you see these stalls in line and one's the opposite where you have to pull in forward instead of backing in. That's for a trailer because they don't have any pull-throughs. Maybe they're doing that now with non-Tesla drivers as well. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments. Okay, the other thing is with these, charge rate of 250 kilowatts, right? My old pack, like I think I may have mentioned this, so let me make sure I do. It's only capable of 150 or so max. I can't even go up to the 250, but the benefit for me is that it's constantly cooling the cable, so I will never go below the maximum charge rate. Whereas on 1 and 2, it might drop because those handles get high because they have no active cooling system in the handle. Whew. Okay, so the biggest problems I'm seeing right now in 2024 are the fact that they've got some of these version 3 stall setups that are newer installations that probably went in before or maybe at the time that all the other automakers started adopting the NACS, North American Charging Standard, aka Tesla standard, and Tesla's kind of like, oh gosh, we gotta quickly half-ass this to make it work. Does that make sense? Either way, let me know in the comments. I'd like to hear back from you. Let's get to version 4, because even if this doesn't make sense now, it will when you understand the upgrades here in version 4. And hopefully this is all, not only relevant, but interesting to you so that it all makes sense, all the history, right? Because those who don't learn history are doomed to repeat it. All right, version 4. A couple things about this I don't want to forget that I want to mention right away that are new. Yes, you already heard that the cable's longer. It is longer. It's cooled. It's longer. See how long that is? Wow. This cable is only from here. It wraps around, and goes up there. It's not very long. It only works with Tesla length. That's why they have to move the position of the stall within the installation in order to make other folks be able to connect. And by the way, just because they do that doesn't mean it solves problems, because I've seen Rivians and stuff and other vehicles like F-150 Lightnings. I think those are the ones that have the charge port between the front wheel and the front door. Okay, they take up 2 spots. Even with the botched Tesla supercharging experience on my end, it still ends up they're taking double the chargers just because they're not a Tesla, which is kind of screwed up. Okay, and that's why Tesla, with version 4, a lot of these version 3s that are out, especially with the Magic Docks, really should be version 4s. That's what I'm trying to get to. And yes, this is a lengthy explanation. That's why I didn't do it in the short video. In the short video, I couldn't explain all this. You have to have all this base knowledge about 1, 2, 3, and where things are going with 4. Yeah, you still got this urban charger over here in the corner, like the red-headed stepchild or something. They're there, but this doesn't really relate to that. Okay, we'll probably still see ongoing urban chargers. Version 4, what else is it at? It might, just like version 3. Version 3 might have a magic dock. Version 4 might have a magic dock, not necessarily. Okay? Does not come standard with the magic dock. But the magic dock is built into the unit. You see how there's no open area on the inside? Because this is open on the inside, it's almost like you can see like an X-ray of the inside of the supercharger. Oh yeah, there's a magic dock in that one, but not in that one. You can't see over here because there's no open middle part in a version 4. There's this long cable. Actually, the cable kind of starts here. It loops down around. See how it's curved? They're all curved at the bottom. But the cable loops down around and connects on the other side, which is interesting how they integrated the design. You can see how it's evolved from 1, 2, 3 to 4, and they still take the theme of the design, but that's just because the damn cable is like twice as long. I'd say, well, not twice, maybe 3/5 as long, something like that. If you know the exact percentage of increase in cable, let me know. It's cooled, it's liquid cooled. It might have magic dock, and we can't see because we can't see the internals on this. But as a Tesla driver, you don't know. But I guess as a non-Tesla driver, you get alerted to this in the software in your car. I don't know. Let me know. One thing I also want to mention is that Tesla drivers don't have, there's no digital display or any way to pay on version 1, 2, or 3. 4 has no digital display, but it might have a way to pay depending upon the installation, not necessarily guaranteed. It might have a credit card swiper. Okay, did you know that? It might. Only some of the version 4 installations that have gone in have had credit card swappers. I've stopped at like 2 of them so far on my travels. I haven't even thought about looking for that. I don't even know where that is. If you know where it is on the version 4, let me know down below in the comments. But that's not for Tesla, because for Tesla, you don't need any of that. It's all integrated in the software in the car. It all gets paid directly out of your Tesla account. I am curious how this works if you are a non-Tesla driver. If anyone has used a version 4 without the credit card reader, if anyone has used a version 4 with the credit card reader, and of course, version 3s do not have credit card readers at all. So it may be that for certain non-Tesla EVs, you have to go to version 4 because it's going to require there to be a credit card reader. Whereas version 3, since it does not even have the capability of even having a credit card swipe reader there at the pump, you may not even be able to use those with certain EVs. And again, if you know all this, please comment down below anything you have that will give us the information on this, or please go to TeslaHighMileageClub.com, TeslaHighMileageClub.com. Even non-Tesla owners are welcome to join us. It's an informative and intelligent group of conversations going on, so please join us there. What else can I tell you about version 4? Okay, I don't think it matters so much the stall placement at all, because this cord, like I said, is 3/5 longer, I think, than version 1, 2, or 3. Or Urban. By the way, Urban is also short, just like these other ones. This is the only one with the long cord. Version 4 is what needs to go everywhere, truly. Okay, if you're getting the gist of what I'm saying here, if we're going to keep the seamless Tesla experience, which it has been, the supercharging experience has been seamless for me since March of 2017, when I did my first video, first use of a Tesla supercharger. Check my channel, adigitalnomad.net. I think we have like 3 million views on that one. And I screwed up my first supercharge. I still think it's funny, not funny, but just enjoyable in a way to see new supercharger Tesla drivers who are new to the supercharging experience and how they connect. And I talk to them and show them how to do it. It's so easy. You just go up, the cable's light and easy. And even the cable here, yeah, it's a little heavier because it's longer, but it's not super thick like that CSS non-Tesla cord. The CSS has, the 3 connectors too. The head of it is like 3 heads instead of 1. So it's heavy in the head, the cord's heavy, it's unwieldy. You don't get that experience here with Tesla superchargers. like I said, the hole in the experience for me as an OG supercharger has been in the last few months, specifically the last 6 months, I'd say, where they are half-assing it on the it's a technical term, half-assing the version 3s to make them work for the CSS and the non-Tesla drivers. That's what's happening in my mind. And yeah, maybe that's why Elon fired the whole team, because the overall experience is just like night and day compared to Electrify America and other stuff. And I've made videos on Electrify America and what a nightmare it is to use their systems, because they're broken half the time, or you're waiting, or they only half work, and they don't, or they're all over the place with the charge rates and all this stuff. I don't even know about the costs. Okay. Uh, but I told you earlier, OG people with the SCO1s or SCO2s, we don't have to pay, but anybody who's new, it has to pay. And I don't, this video is so long. I just want to make sure I'm not even sure if I mentioned about the batteries, but I want to kind of bring this point back, even if I did mention it earlier in the video. And by the way, don't forget about the super thanks button here. 3 buttons. Tip me, please. Share this video with somebody that can benefit. Give us a like and subscribe too. But what I was saying about the battery packs is the packs themselves are made up of thousands of cells. OG and even some of the newer and current Model S's and X's use the made in Japan uh, Panasonic produced cells in their packs. And I do believe those are the most high quality cells available. Okay. And yeah, that Tesla won't let you go above 150 kilowatts. So even though I don't benefit from a speed increase on 3 or 4, it could be that it's a combination of the fact that these made in Japan cells are better quality, or the fact that they never let them go above 150. That or do they let them go above 150 on the newest ones? Actually, they might do that. Then let's focus on, yeah, they do. I think they do, but I don't know when. I don't know when those changes took place. Let me know in the comments, or join us at TeslaHighMileageClub.com. But I do think there's a quality difference, and I think the Tesla engineers are noting this too. All right, that there is a difference in the cells, the quality, because you're either getting Japanese produced Panasonic cells on S and X, they've always been like that, or you're getting cells produced in the United States that are also of a somewhat similar, though not the same chemistry as the Japanese cells, produced by Tesla under Panasonic's direction in the United States. They're bigger size too. They're tending to not last as long, and Tesla engineers are seeing this. They also can be charged at a faster rate. All right, 250 plus kilowatts. And by the way, this version 3 is maxed out at 250 with the design, hardware, and software. This version 4, believe it or not, is capable of over 600 kilowatts. 600. But right now it's limited to, I think it's 250 right now. I do believe it's 250. If somebody knows that, let me know. But I think right now it's software limited to 250, but it will be capable of over 600 kilowatts. But I'm questioning whether or not it even makes sense, because it may be affecting the longevity of the battery pack. And because I exclusively supercharge. Another factor on that is the condition of your air conditioning system. Not only that it functions properly from the compressor standpoint, but you need to clean out that coil slash radiator slash condenser, which is packed underneath. Instead of standing up and down, it's packed this way under your frunk. And I have videos on how to do that in Tesla High Mileage Club. Look at the pinned post up at the top. Scroll over a little bit, you'll see what I'm talking about. Especially for older vehicles like mine, there's a specific procedure you need to do. And I'm not sure about the newest ones. That remains to be seen. But I think all those things need to be cleaned. The other thing is Cattle is the other manufacturer of cells, CATL, out of China. They are longer lasting. They're LFP, lithium iron phosphate, not iron phosphate, LFP. And they should last 3 times as long. My battery pack is 280,000 miles. It's still going. And the newer pack should be 3 times the life of that, 1,000,000 miles, I would say, expected life on those LFPs. The thing is, they're also charging at higher rates, and I don't know if these super high peak rates on the superchargers are affecting longevity. If you know, let me know in the comments. All right, I think we've gotten through most of the information now that I wanted to get to you in Tesla Supercharging 101, the electric car charging EV experience, not just for Tesla, like I said, but for all other drivers. Now, hopefully you got a good idea of the history behind everything. Like I said, you're not going to be seeing 1s and 2s. They're on the way out. These guys are phased out, right? Make sense? This is still at your local OG shopping mall or with a parking garage or office building or something like that. Even office buildings are OG now with work remote, work from home. But threes are what we're seeing now, which are causing the problem, the V3s. For the reasons I explained why, if you're not sure, please comment down below or join us at Tesla High Mileage Club and we will discuss. Hopefully this video clears everything up for you. Version 4 is the gold standard, platinum standard, whatever. But even so, like we said, it's not utilizing its full potential. Right now, they're software locked at 250 kilowatts. They are capable of over 600 kilowatts of energy. They may not have the magic dock, and they may not have the credit card reader. Okay? So much to remember, so much to take in. Now, let's pull it all together and wonder, why did Elon Musk fire the entire supercharging team recently? There's a lot of questions on that because I think they handed it over to the energy team, or the energy storage team, because a lot of these installations, I didn't get into it, I'm not going to, but a lot of them have solar panels overhead where they're actually pulling electricity off the panels down to the units below. A lot of them have battery banks, storage banks of batteries. A lot of them I see are connected with Starlink systems to the internet. One thing you also want to remember that I have learned recently is that they all use renewable energy. And you're like, Mike, I see all these EVs are coal-powered vehicles because they show the power plant off in the distance burning coal. But believe it or not Teslas, okay? Because Teslas with the supercharging network, apparently, from what I understand, and write down below in the comments if this is not right, that you know how you can purchase your electricity from renewable sources by paying a little bit more and making sure that it comes from those sources through your power or electric company. That's what Tesla does for all the supercharger installations. So all the supercharger installations are powered by renewable sources generating their electricity. So any memes that you see with coal-fired power plants in the distant background powering the electric cars are not accurate. Okay, so you can, I don't know, make a new meme with that or something like that. So, okay, here's what I think will happen with the supercharger team recently. I think that, you know, version 3 was a challenge because all of a sudden everybody just kind of fell in line last year, 2023, with adopting the Tesla standard, and Tesla was ill prepared for that to happen. I don't think they would have predicted that. Maybe Elon Musk told the head of the supercharging team that this is going to happen. I know you don't see it yet. And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, in your dreams. But then, of course, it did happen, and it shocked me. And I'm glad for it, but they're ill prepared. And like I said, it's affected the experience for us OG Tesla supercharging people negatively in a way that was never happening before. So that needs to be remedied. I think some of the designs there still need to be remedied because I think Tesla should be doing the best for their people. Do you think so? Do you agree with me? Let me know down below. Give me a thumbs up. Something they should be doing the best for their people. It's their design of chargers, it's their installations, it's their cars. It needs to be seamless. If somebody else wants to come along and build it, they should be the ones that have the worst experience. Am I correct? Okay, let me know. I'm interested to what you think. I mean, yeah, ideally everyone gets the best of everything, but that's in reality, it never works that way. Somebody has to get the short end of the stick. It should not be the OG Tesla supercharging people like we're experiencing. So this was kind of fumbled. Okay, the version 3s that went in last year, 2023, during this time when everybody kind of moved over to NACS, North American Charging Standard from CSS, these were fumbled. Tesla needs to deploy way more of the version 4s, way more of these, because these version 4s are the solution to the problems. But it's kind of interesting, like I said, that they don't all have the magic dock. They don't all have the credit card reader. It's like Tesla or Elon wants control. They want to be able to pull it back. They're already saying that because they fired the team, that the deployments this year of new supercharger locations and new stalls are going to be significantly less than what they had forecasted. All right, now let me know your thoughts on all this. I'm very interested to hear it, very interested to see how this plays out. But obviously, over time, we already know how it's going to play out. We're not going to be using version 1, 2, and 3 anymore. All these areas, if they keep the same locations, they'll all be replaced with version 4, and all problems will be solved. That's it, version 4. Version 4, I don't think can go in where the urban chargers go, unless maybe they did something new with the design. I don't know, where they can easily slip in a version 4 with urban chargers. And if you know that, let me know, because urban chargers don't seem to be very conducive to opening up the network to non-Tesla drivers. So I'm kind of, it'll be interesting to see how that works out. So thank you so much for joining me for my diatribe, my lecture on Tesla supercharging. Again, I don't know if there's anyone that has more experience than me with the Tesla supercharging network. So people have said a lot of things, but I don't think they have enough experience. If you know of someone at this point in time, May of 2024, that has more than 3,200 supercharging sessions on their one single Tesla vehicle that they have driven basically exclusively, Denise has once or twice driven the car, okay? But that's it. I've driven the car 280,000 plus miles, towing, car camping, working out of the car, supercharging over 3,200 times. I am giving you hopefully a complete uh, overview of the entire supercharging network. And of course, I do believe that the Tesla supercharging network is the future of all EV charging. If you want to know some other things coming down the road, this cable will be robotically controlled. They've been testing this for years, where you pull in or the car pulls in and it's a robot arm that goes in. It'll work with Teslas. I don't know if it'll work with other vehicles. You know, that's when the robotaxi system and the full self-driving comes to fruition and reaches complete maturity. But that is also under development. I also think, just so you know, your little bonus here for staying with me at the end is that this Tesla bot, right? That you see, I've seen a Tesla bot before in a Tesla uh, showroom or whatever you call it inside of a mall. The purpose of those bots may be that when these cars start driving themselves and they have the robotic arms plugging into the cars, and they even take themselves in for service, but not for service. Say that they're switching cars, switching riders. People are like, "Oh, who's going to get in some filthy car from who knows what? Maybe someone barfed in the car." Well, that's what the Tesla robot's for. It's going to go through it, clean the car. It's got the cameras. It's going to observe. It's going to check the old driver out. It's going to clean up any messes, including, I don't know, somebody had too much to drink on a Saturday night. And that's how this whole thing is going to work, and how you guys are going to be all cool with everything going forward and using your car as an income source, and, as Elon Musk has said in the past, an appreciating asset. It's all part of this whole supercharging system that has yet to come to full fruition, but will at some point in the near future. If you know when, also let me know in the comments. Oh my gosh, I can barely talk. That's the last sip of water I got too, so I have to end this video. Let me know in the comments when you think all that's going to come to fruition with the Supercharger network. I thank you so much for watching. Join us at TeslaHighMileageClub.com. See ya. It's Mike Young, a digitalnomad.net, signing out. Bye-bye.